Good evening. Happy Monday night. Maybe it's Tuesday morning. Maybe it's Monday afternoon. Maybe it's Monday morning somewhere. Probably Hawaii. Nah, I don't think it's. Anyway, I hope you are doing well. Good to be back doing some streaming for Monday nights. It has been, well, before I talk, if you guys want to, of course, cue me in. My computer is very old and very slow. If you can hear any audio or video, that would be great. All right, confirmed by my prof and all of that. Good. And then we'll welcome also, thank you, prof. We'll welcome you first. Great thumbnail, my lovely shield maiden. I'm looking forward to this topic. I think it should be pretty short, but also pretty fun to discuss. And we've got Go Team Ghost Planet Forevermore. Wonderful to see you. Nice avatar. And we've got our wonderful friend Big Al. I hope to have a fantastic stream. So great. I might be a little out of sorts, not in a bad way in any respect, but I just got a new job. I took on a new part-time job, and it's retail, and it's really fun. It's a wonderful location, but I have not done retail since 2008. So I've had student jobs, I've had a receptionist job, and I've been a teacher for 7 years. So it's not quite outside my comfort zone, but the energy is the dynamic is very different. So I've been up much earlier than I'm used to, and I haven't slept since. So my voice also might be raspy, or I might even lose a couple of words from time to time, just because I've been talking and speaking to new people and speaking to customers and stuff like that. So I'm pretty tired, but I don't feel too tired to quit the stream. But yeah, it's been a pretty not hectic, but pretty full couple of weeks with different schedules and all that. So far, it's still looking like Monday nights will be our streaming and all of that, but you just might see a slightly more tired sound engraver going forward. I also, because my sleeping schedule just totally changed. I was quite nocturnal, but I think I have to actually be more of a morning person just for a season or so. I might even keep the stream short, under 90 minutes, of course, maybe even an hour. Just depends on what my voice is doing. So anyway, so let's welcome some more people. Dr. Y, video and sound coming in loud and clear. And I saw that I saw your Winston Churchill quote, but you might have to put it in the chat. Ken, I pinned it, but I guess YouTube didn't want to keep it pinned. So anyway, yes, thank you. Congrats on the new job. I think it feels good. It's about a quarter of what I make as a teacher, but the location is really cool. And if added help, if helping this historic site, helps, if they need another person, another set of hands on deck, just to maintain the store and the site, then I'm willing to do that, at least for a time, for sure. Funny to say though, this is a just kind of a sidebar. This is an American heritage kind of very historical site that I'm working at. It's really fun. It's a gift shop. It's really quaint. It's really nice. The building is quite old. Even if you go upstairs, I didn't know this on my visits, but I was noticing this on the shift. When you look through the boards of the second floor, you can actually see the holes inside, between the boards, looking straight down to the first floor. I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm sure that gives children kind of a kick or a scare, but that's pretty funny. I don't know where I was going with that, but oh yeah, well, the interesting thing is people I've noticed about the team that I'm working with, and also different departments. They're very business-like. I know they have to be, but they're not. I can't really see a general interest in history, in American history. So I found that a little unusual, but maybe it's just the customers, and maybe it's just me and a couple other people. All right. Thank you, Dr. Y. A riddle wrapped in a mystery inside of an enigma by Winston Churchill. I've never heard of that quote, so I'll take your word for it. Thank you, Go Team Ghost Planet, and Big Al for congratulating me on the new job. And welcome, Zootopia. Glad to have you. Welcome aboard. All right. Might have to take some swigs of water often. But I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna throw it out there. We'll get started. But I'm gonna say that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even the next month. Oh, you know what? Actually, no, I have something else important to share with you. I need to plug my stuff. I work hard on my music compositions and I need to plug my stuff. And then we'll talk about the topic at hand. So we got there, share, got that. See if that works. All right, you should be able to see that okay. I released a new ambient track. It's a very different style than what I'm used to, but it's also something I'm exploring a lot more, trying to develop my style to get that nice sound, that clean sound, but also maintain good composition. So let me scroll down here. You can get a free track if you join my mailing list. Meribah. So I just finished Meribah. I started it around late spring, early summer, and then finally finished it. It's almost 10 minutes in length. It's about 9.5 minutes. Now, that might be a long time for most people. I understand people like shorter songs, radio length, under 3 minutes. But my favorite electronic music and my favorite artists who compose this kind of music, I really like, between 10 and 15 minutes. Now, that's not to say all of my tracks going forward will be so long, exceeding 10 minutes or just under 10 minutes. But I'm pretty proud of the style here. I worked extra hard on getting that mix and master just right. And I would say even now, I'm not I'm very satisfied with the final mix and master. But I as an artist, you can always do better. Like as an artist, you can see a piece and you can always think there's one or two things you can improve. But I actually really got pretty much to the closest I can as far as quality, as far as good quality, and I'm pretty happy with it. I won't say what the one, actually, it's actually not two things, it's actually just one thing, and I will refrain from saying it because no one's going to know except me because I have this, great awareness of detail when it comes to sound. And but I'm actually very proud of this track. This is a new style going forward. Ambient, a little bit down tempo. I'm not going to play it on StreamYard because StreamYard, the audio is going to be so compressed. And so there we have it. Now it's also available to you on Spotify. You can also stream it for free on my website, or you can make a purchase for $2. Because of its length, I did put it to $2. Usually my shorter singles will be $1 donation or more, but this is going to be $2, and I feel comfortable with that price. So yes, so that is available for you there on actually the front page of my website. So if you just go below the mailing list, I could actually just put my website on this chat here. There we go. I did see that it is up on Spotify and also Apple Music and iTunes. My music is hardly ever heard on iTunes, but Spotify people do go to. And actually, for the very few streams that I do see in the stats, I actually do make just a little bit of change now and then with streaming. So even listening to my track on Spotify also helps. But if you wanted, actually, one more thing, if you wanted, I include the album art. So down here is the gallery of all my updated album art. So everything you see here. And Meribah, that was the best image I could find for something of water. It's actually very hard to find a good image of like a water spring or a water. I wasn't actually going for a waterfall initially, but the contrast of this really dark black blue with a dark blue and then kind of the sky was pretty evocative. And I like that dark tone of the art album because Meribah, basically, biblically speaking, it's about it's the this track in particular is the depiction, this musical depiction of strife and restoration. If you know the story of the Bible and the book of Exodus, the children of Israel were very contentious. They were not. They were very much displeasing God. You know, God who had shown them the way, provided them with protection, with goods, with resources, and all that. And they were complaining about things like water and clean water and stuff like that. And in the event of things, they are given the blessing of water, but comes at a cost because Meribah is actually a spring that is bitter, but bitter more is symbolic. There is a sad tone at the beginning of my track, and then it has a more kind of happier tone from F minor to F major. You know, major kind of depicting God's provision there, and then just kind of a somber return of F minor, something darker at the end. But some people also think it sounds like cyberpunk Japanese noir because of the instruments I used. So anyway, so there is that. And I will stop sharing. All right. And yes, Al is correct. The name for the site of the Israelites not just passed through, but the name was named after that incident that, they were given the water, but the water had come out bitter. All right. All right. So good that I plugged that because I almost forgot. I'm already working on a second, not second, but another single. Hopefully October to release, but maybe November. I really want it to be October because it's got a great. I'm excited with the album cover and the whole theme of it. Anyway, let's talk about not music, but we're going to talk about writing. We're going to talk about literature to an extent, but really a characteristic or an idea used for literature and great storytelling, and that is the enigma. I want to talk about the enigma, the enigmatic characters of good stories. And I'm just going to be addressing what is, or what an enigma is, rather, why we should include an enigma, whether it's in the form of a character or an idea. I prefer characters like that. I feel like every good story should have an enigma of some kind. Some myself black out, but now I'm back. Okay, so we're talking about the enigma. Creating this embodiment, a character or an idea in your story or in a story that you've read, that is really mystery. And so we'll go through some basic points, very, very basic points. I thought of this topic really because of Asimov. And just might have to start over again. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I bet this is my prof telling me. Oh, never mind. There you go. All right, let's center ourselves and begin again. But not before I welcome Wolf10. Welcome. Nice to see you, Wolf10, and Final Fantasy fan as well. Thank you for joining me. So we were talking about the enigma. So I think the enigma is a very important idea for good storytelling. And I'll just go over some basic points and maybe have you, with your own imagination or ideas, fill in the gaps. But then I will be using examples really in the form of questions. I've got my notes right here. I think about, an hour ago, I was just kind of stream of conscious right here, just, conveying the enigma in the form of different questions. So we'll start with the enigma as far as its definition. With the enigma, or something that is enigmatic, we're dealing with mystery, and mystery pertaining to the unknown, or pertaining to the things that cannot be explained. So, for instance, in our world, we have our time in human history, we have the given technology and the resources and the socio-political dynamics and language, whether vocally speaking or written or something like musical notation and stuff like that. We have all of this technology. We're all aware of what we have in the world, from the first world countries down to the third world countries. However, fully developed or underdeveloped, we have a sense of where we are as far as technology and sciences. And introducing something that is enigmatic to our world is, basically what would be unexplained right now in our sciences, in our technology. Well, any form of technology that might in our time seem magical. Now, I would say I would just, throw this out there. I think the idea of Wi-Fi communication and the internet, like me speaking to you remotely, no matter what part of the world you're in, no matter what time of the world you're in, me speaking to you directly in real time and remotely, this can be almost magical to someone living in the 1800s. They wouldn't have been able to fathom this. Now, there were things like, radio, frequency hopping, and things that were developing, in the probably World War I, but getting into World War II. There were developments in radio communication that really did introduce this idea of the Wi-Fi connection. But someone living in the 1800s would see this, like if they were presented this, this would be considered magical and unexplained. They wouldn't have, unless you have the engineers and the scientists and the theorists of that time, they wouldn't have a way to explain it. My Wi-Fi communication, my direct communication to you would be an example of something that is an enigma, something that is mysterious, something that is unknown. Maybe it can be explained, but not fully comprehended. That is an example of the enigma. So when you're dealing with the enigma, the enigmatic, whether seeing a character on screen or seeing it in a book that you love, in a story that you love, or maybe developing such a character for your own stories, you have to first think, what causes this person or this idea to be mysterious? What causes this person or idea to be of the unknown, of the uncertain, or of the unexplained? So that's the first main point. And then the second point that I wrote down is kind of in tandem with the first point. The enigma has to be either an impossibility to your present knowledge or to the present knowledge of the world, or at the very least, a near impossibility. So if we do have aliens out there in the world with such and such technology that we can't explain, well, then that would be that race of beings would be to us an enigma, something we just can't decide for ourselves, what is going on, what is to be explained of a certain race. So think of mystery and think of either the impossibility of such a thing or the near impossibility of such a thing. And finally, the third point, you have to think of, when dealing with an enigma, an enigmatic character, you have to think of the populace and people's reaction to such a thing if it were not secret. So let's say it is publicly known that there is a force of nature out there that cannot be explained. Why are things happening in seemingly magical ways or impossible ways? And so the the populace and the reaction of the populace is what makes it even more engaging. It makes the enigma a lot more intriguing as a character or an idea. So if it's not a secret, if the world through politics and news and all that, if it is known, then really the intrigue is proportional to the people's reaction to the enigma. Is this person benevolent? Is this thing malicious? What what is to be presented, and how are people going to globally react to such a thing? Or if it is secret, maybe it is secret and it can't be known except for a few people for different reasons. What is the individual's reaction to the enigma? Are they going to be loyal to the cause? Maybe this enigma has a certain particular cause for mankind or for the world, or for the galaxy. Or will that individual or group of individuals go against, or will they at least try to understand the enigma and go against the enigma? So those were the three main points that I want to go over. With an enigma or the enigma of a story, whether character or idea, you have to have, of course, mystery, something that is unknown, uncertain, and presently unexplained. It's got to be impossible, or at the very least, nearly impossible. And lastly, what is the reaction? What's the social reaction? What's the political reaction? Or what is the individual reaction to this enigma? All right. I do see a few people coming into the chat. I will actually present a few questions regarding the enigma, and then we will get back into the chat. So, why it's a good idea? Why it's a good idea to, or I will present to you rather. I'm going to present to you why it's a good idea to include an enigma to your stories if you are writing stories, especially if you are into, the comic book industry, or that format, or novels or short stories. For instance, I'm really into science fiction, so I read science fiction and I write science fiction. And especially with science fiction, you really should explore such an enigmatic character. So I'm going to present to you questions and then maybe cushion it with some input. So here's why it's a good idea. It's an important idea. Or here's why it's important to include an enigma to your story. Will the enigma be contained or resolved? So if such an enigma is presented to the world of your stories, is it a threat? And if so, can it be contained or will it be resolved? That's the first thing. If it can be resolved, what would be the resolution? What kind of resolution? Is it world-shattering? It shouldn't be tepid, because if you're presented with something you can't understand that appears magical or impossible in your world, then such a revolution, it might take a revolution to counter the enigma, but such a resolution would have to have a huge payoff. If the mystery is great, if the uncertainty is great, if the unknown is very much an earth-shattering thing, a resolution of something must have a huge payoff. Now, if the enigma can't be defeated, what change will be brought to the world? It would have to be a change of some kind if the enigma is unexplained and if it is countering the normal of the world. No matter how diverse or varied the world is as far as continents and countries and languages and cultures, the world might, or the galaxy, if it's some kind of science fiction setting there. The galaxy might have to be united against such an enigma. Now, if the enigma cannot be defeated, what change will be brought to that world or to that galaxy? Will it be for the better or will it be for the worse? Maybe the enigma is a benevolent thing. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a deity of some kind that brings about a universal good. Or maybe it's for the worse. Maybe the enigma is countering what is natural. What are the natural causes of the world? What are the natural sciences as we know? What are the natural moral laws as we know, as you and I as human beings? So if the enigma cannot be defeated, what change will that be? Will it be for the better? Will it be for the worse? Will it change the world for the better? Will it change the world for the worse? These are questions revolving around the enigma. Now, if it changes for the worst or for the worse, can the world accommodate or adapt, or will it be destroyed in the process? So the enigma is a very important element in good storytelling because it inherently involves a conflict. The unknown to a world, to a galaxy, to a group of people, to an individual, the unknown inherently brings about a conflict of some kind. And the resolution depends really proportionally to how the world responds to such a conflict. So because of the inherent conflict the enigma presents, it's suitable that A, you make the enigma a villain to either change or defeat the world to its own purposes, or B, you make the enigma a paragon type to show mankind the better way, to better the world. So the enigma can be a good, benevolent being or idea, or it can be a villain. And I particularly like the villain aspect of it. Now, I'm going to conclude with this. No spoilers. But with Asimov's Foundation trilogy, there is such a character, there is such an enigma called the Mule. And this is a very interesting, intriguing, enigmatic character. And I will call the Mule the enigmatic antagonist because this character is presented as an antagonist. I'm not going to go any further than that. I think I will spend a stream talking about the Mule in Isaac Asimov's Foundation series because it's a great character study. It's very interesting, very well written, and different tendencies and trajectories that bring about the conflict of the Mule and the Mule's resolution. And I'll just leave I'll leave it at this. This Mule, this being, he is an antagonist. But how he is an enigma is that his actions that disrupt, let me say this again. His actions that disrupt, I can't say that word today. It's been a long day. Let's just say it this way. His actions that brings about chaos and disorder to the galaxy cannot be explained. The galaxy, through its socio-political and economic motion, or motions rather, it's on this trajectory that everyone expects has a definitive outcome. In Asimov's world, in his galaxy, there is a course of events that are bound to happen, and the outcomes are inevitable. This is presented at the very start of the Foundation trilogy. But one thing that was not accounted for was this enigma presented by this character that calls himself the Mule. No one, not even the genius that started the whole psycho-historian movement, that is Harry Seldon, no one predicted this force. And there's a reason why no one could predict this force of nature, so to speak. And it's not explained It can't be explained, and it's not explained until the end of the second book. And then more of this character is further developed in the first half of the third book. And it's very interesting. Yeah, it's I'm not going to rate it. I'm not going to explain it. I'm not going to spoil it. No spoilers. No spoilers. Because the revelation of the mule is actually a pretty good one. But the mule is probably one of, if not the most impactful enigmas of science fiction. Everyone who talks about Asimov, um, in particular, or science fiction. Let me say this again. Everyone who talks about science fiction, classic science fiction, who have read things like Dune, of course, maybe Hyperion, and all that. I'm going to get to those books later. They refer to the mule. The mule is a thing, a being that has impacted the way people feel about science fiction. He's a very fascinating character. And he's presented as a complete mystery for the longest time. So I might dive in to the specifics in maybe another stream or another fixed video, but that would cause me to spoil it. But it's a very, very interesting character study. So I hope you liked that recap, or well, that presentation of the Enigma. I'm just going to do a quick recap, and then we'll get back into the chat. Ah, I spilled water on my keyboard. So, as a recap, the Enigma inherently involves mystery, the unknown, the uncertain, the unexplained, the impossibility or the near impossibility, and also the populace and its reaction to the enigma, or the individual, the actual person reacting to the enigma. Will such an enigma in a story be contained or resolved? Can it be contained or resolved? All right. Am I on? Okay. Oh, good. Okay. So there's no enigma to the internet not working all the time. So all right. So okay, good. Looks like Professor Geek did say we had internet trouble. And that's okay. I was actually more worried that it was a neighborhood thing and then we wouldn't have access to closing down the video. But in any case, hmm, let's actually see what you guys have to say. I'm pretty much done with the topic. I might present it as like a separate video because I think it's important to say. And I honestly, guys, since I've had a full day, I don't feel like I've said it like I've said it. So we shall see. Like I wanted to say it. I can't even say my sentences correctly. So let's looking into this. KR says, "Oh, looking at the title and started thinking of the Doctor from old school Doctor Who. Kind of sad how it went down. I actually don't know Doctor Who. See, the thing is, I got to start watching shows that are science fiction, but I'm not going to start with Doctor Who or Star Trek. I might watch the original Star Trek series. I've seen a few episodes, but now I'll probably just do Babylon 5 and Farscape. For some reason, my mind went to Shin Godzilla. The versions of Godzilla was a complete enigma, like you described. Cool. I don't know anything about Godzilla, but maybe it's the shadow character of Godzilla. All right. Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example. All the way back to Frankenstein. That monster was an enigma. Yeah. And I think that's what causes stories to be so interesting and so engaging. So yes. Thank you, Zootopia. So I think that's what I wanted to say. Seen Firefly? I've only seen the film. I've only seen Serenity. And did Serenity make sense though to the story? I don't know. So anyway. All right. Well, I think guys, I might do a fixed video. I mean, I guess I could come up with a rant or something before I sign off. Um, that blackout on top of me just having a full day kind of just like, kind of set me back just a little bit. But yeah, I could probably have a rant or something if the chat is low or slow. I mean, not you guys aren't low. 1 second though, I'm gonna pull my hair back. And I don't like brushing my teeth. Yeah, not my teeth either. I don't like brushing my hair in public. So, because I think it's not rude to most people, but just it's still not cool enough to keep the hair down. It's not cold enough. It's still kind of it definitely feels like fall, but it's definitely still on the sticky side as well. Okay, there we go. Feels better. All right, so yeah, so yeah, we'll see how that talk went. I'm gonna listen to it on the replay. But yeah, something I was thinking about holding off as far as ranting about or talking about is just kind of this whole social concern of popular entertainment, and just looking at the recent things that have come up, what we've seen with or not me personally as far as the shows, but engagement, public engagement, online discourse, and interaction with things like Rings of Power or She-Hulk or something like that, and then also contrasting that with something like House of Dragons, but most prominently, the bad stuff that we have been experiencing with our entertainment. I wanted to bring to your attention The very serious, not okay, I don't want to say medically. It's not medically serious. It's not like, oh no, war. But I would say I would say that there is a latency, a cerebral latency that is happening to our public. Now, people might say, well, of course, minds are growing numb. We are entering the doldrums. Of course, minds are getting slower because of social media and stuff like that. No one reads anymore. No one articulates. Well, that's not true. But we don't articulate things and we don't express things. We don't read things on the level as people of the late 1800s, for instance. And so what am I saying about this whole latency? What's happening with our smarts? We're actually I'm not going to say we're growing dumber, but I am going to say that we are losing discretion. Now, this might seem so obvious and people might ask, like, why are you bringing this up? I actually want to give you a real life example. In the world of YouTube and online discourse, I had been listening to channels I otherwise wouldn't listen to just to see what they have been saying about certain recent movies and shows and all of that. And of course, they are discussing Rings of Power. They think it's garbage, so of course they have to watch it and talk about it to get their views up and stuff like that. And I don't really I half listen to what they say on their videos, but I'm more interested in reading the comments of their listeners. I read a lot of comments. I don't have social media anymore besides YouTube. And so I actually do read comments on YouTube like people would read comments on Facebook. And I had an incident on one of these channels where I was, in light of people talking about how terrible the Rings of Power is. People saying, "Oh, this is garbage," and people started saying to this YouTuber, I won't mention the name, but he's a popular guy, or it's a team of them actually, and he was. People were saying, "Oh my goodness, in 5 minutes, the four of you, or maybe it was five of you for this particular show, the five of you were coming up in 10 minutes, better stories than anything the writers were doing with Rings of Power." And I just got to thinking, I'm like, okay, as someone who composes and writes every day, sometimes hours a day, if I have the time allotted to me, even if you could come up with something better in 10 minutes than the writers of Rings of Power, that doesn't make it good. You're not instantly good when producing a better story, better than Rings of Power. We've gotten to the point of entertainment these days where the garbage, the entertainment, the quality is so poor, so bad that people think anything slightly better is good. That's the mistake people are making, because you cannot. You can come up with a good idea or a better idea than Rings of Power in under 10 minutes concerning such an episode, whatever the case may be. Okay, you can come up with a better idea, but in no way should you ever assume that just because you come up with a good idea in under 10 minutes, you can do execution, you can do writing, and it's going to be great. No, that's silly to think that. Execution and writing take hours, weeks, months, and years to get right, to get better, and to get to a proficiency where we would see things like Tolkien, where we would see, for people like Brandon Sanderson or something like that. No, you can't. People can't assume just because they're better or smarter than people behind Rings of Power. They can't assume that what they would produce is good. And case in point, I was discussing such an example. As you guys, of course, know, my doctoral dissertation was, of course, Star Wars: The Siege of Mandalore. And these people behind this channel, supporting this channel and saying how bad Rings of Power is. Well, I was bringing about a point in writing, and I used Star Wars as an example. Case in point, Siege of Mandalore. Objectively speaking, that arc is terrible. Well, people who were just calling on the garbage and supporting this team of YouTubers, they were saying, "Oh yeah, this is so bad." They saw my comment and they're like, "What's bad about Siege of Mandalore?" What? And I said the writing, and then two of them said, "Well, what's wrong with the writing?" I'm like, "You can go to my channel," and they got all huffy, like, "Oh, you just said that just to plug your own channel." I'm like, "Actually, no. I made a comment. I responded with another comment, and then you asked me to be specific." I'm like, "You can go to my channel for that. That's not plugging my channel at that point." And they're like, I'm just a random person on the internet. I don't care about your opinion." I'm like, "Well, I said what I said." But people there was a thread. I had caused a little thread, and people were really upset that I thought the writing of Siege of Mandalore was terrible. These are the same people who believe that Rings of Power is awful. But they can't see the bad in Star Wars Season 7. They can't. They won't. They refuse to. And they can't be bothered with my analysis of it. So all this to say is their opinions on the garbage of Rings of Power doesn't amount to excellence. What I'm saying is, and this is the serious point, they don't know what's bad anymore. They just know what's really bad because they can't see bad in anything else because they're comparing everything else to Rings of Power, to She-Hulk, to everything. We are losing our discretion. People who support these channels who are saying, "Oh, we're for good writing. We're for good writing." I'm like, "No, you're not." Because you've got, or maybe you are as a channel maker or a video maker, but your listeners do not have the discretion to understand what is bad anymore. They don't know. Because we've been inundated with the really bad. So no one knows what just bad is anymore. No one knows what subpar is anymore. The other thing that I'm also recognizing as well is the latency, the cerebral latency that's going on with public discourse. And it has to do with the recent show for Star Wars, and that is Andor. I don't know anything about it. I hear it's pretty cinematic. I hear it's pretty well done as far as cinematography and dialogue and characterization and acting and all of that. Okay, fine. You've got some things involving film that's objectively good. Where the discretion comes in now is that we're now seeing a line of Star Wars making that is actually anti-Star Wars or a Star Wars. When I put in the prefix a in front of a word, it either means without or anti. It's usually without. I'm going to call it a/Star Wars, meaning it's Star Wars without Star Wars. What does that mean? Well, the creators behind Andor actually have made it their full intent not to look like Star Wars or not to feel like Star Wars. And to that I say, why? And the reason for that is the reasons that I've heard are, well, we want to make it feel more realistic. We want to make it feel more believable. And we want to deal with real people for characters. And it's like, then you don't understand what Star Wars is. And maybe you don't want to. For you to say, well, we're working with everyday people, it's like, but you can still, as an everyday man and as an everyday person, you could still relate to someone like Princess Leia, who just wants to protect her home and do the right thing, and she's captured for it. Oh, but she's not a believable character. She's not realistic. You know, that first scene, we see her in that gorgeous white dress, and she looks so magical. She looks so mythical. But no, she's not realistic. We don't look like her. We don't act like her. We don't talk like her. We don't do stuff like her. So therefore, we shouldn't produce Star Wars that is of the line of Princess Leia, that mythical aura of Princess Leia. Second thing is, Luke is a perfect depiction of the everyman. He's a farm boy on the backwater planet of Tatooine. How do you not be more everyman than that? And so now, concerning the discretion happening here, it's now, oh well, we don't want to make Star Wars. We're making Star Wars without making it Star Wars. Now, Andor might look like a really good show, might have some good writing, but I guess there's an implied intimacy scene or whatever. I don't know. I guess it's not made for kids. And Star Wars, and people think Andor is going to just be this offshoot of a separate branch. I'm like, no, it's part of the tree. It's part of the tree. What they're doing with Andor and making it grittier and more realistic, like for the every person, that's going to be the same going forward. People might contend with me on that and say, no, Ahsoka's not going to look like that. Ahsoka's not going to sound like that. Thrawn's not going to be like that. It's like, no, this is the mentality. The very creators behind Star Wars, the man leading the charge for Andor, forgot his name, Gilroy, I think his name is. He wasn't even a Star Wars fan when he was brought onto the project. He's like, I'm not really a Star Wars fan. I don't really have a respect for Star Wars. I went into Star Wars trying to make it look real. It's like, that's not the point of Star Wars. And so that's my rant. We are facing a latency of our thinking. We are becoming more and more incapable of actual thinking, of discerning. We don't have this problem with things like temperature and food. We don't have these things when it comes to thirst. Now, we can do bad habits. We could drink less water so we won't feel as thirsty as if we were to drink the appropriate amount of water every day. But if someone is too hot, they're going to do things to cool themselves off. If someone is too cold, they're going to do things and wear things that will warm them up. We have physical material discretion. We can understand what is wrong, bad, or uncomfortable when it comes to the material. But when it comes to the cerebral, when it comes to things like entertainment with Star Wars, we're facing the doldrums. We are entering the doldrums. And that is my sound engraver rant to top off my topic. So, oh well. Oh wow, Team Oz. Nice to see you. Let's see what you have to say. I disagree. I think trying to be different from Star Wars as we know it is smart. Look at Disney trying to look like an approximation of Star Wars without understanding and failing. Oh, I'm not saying that's not a problem either. I should point out, obviously, The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, in some ways they were looking and sounding like Star Wars without it being Star Wars. I didn't see Kenobi, so I don't know if that looked too much like Star Wars. But the opposite is not the right way either. Like the fact that, like, now the thing is, I'm gonna say this with Star Wars. If you follow the theme of Star Wars or the themes of Star Wars, you actually can make it present itself to be Star Wars without the lightsabers and all of that. However, there's this intent, this active intention of trying to make it not look like Star Wars. That's not a good idea either. There could be too much of a nice thing. Again, I think The Force Awakens tried to do that. Try to get all the feels of Star Wars, and it failed. But now we're seeing the opposite, and the result is just as bad. Kenobi was worse. Hello, Randall Andrews. Oh, okay. Well, fair point. Fair point. And the thing is, I'm not gonna knock Andor. I'm just gonna say this is probably the trajectory. Maybe. Um, let's see. Disney makes Star Wars like it's following a recipe without knowing what they're actually trying to make. There's no spiritual understanding of the material. Yeah. And no one understands the themes of Star Wars. Oh, see, I wouldn't know, Randall, because I'm not watching. But I think Al has left the building. Sorry, Al. Um, I don't know why Disney wanted Star Wars if they wanted to hire people to change it. I enjoy the world because of what it is. Give back us the heroic Luke Skywalker. And again, it doesn't always have to be Luke Skywalker, but he is the impetus. Andor is awesome so far. Try to hold it in. The thing is, I'm not saying Andor is bad, but the motive for making Andor is questionable. Why would you want to make something that doesn't look like Star Wars? It's like, and here's my thought on that. I think creators, even people like Taika Waititi, I think they don't like the campy humor of Star Wars. And I think because Star Wars was made in the late 70s, they're like, "Oh, we can't have it look like that." I'm like, "Well, the prequels didn't look like what was made in the 1970s and 80s. That's fine. That's fine." And again, it's the theme of Star Wars that holds it together. Now with Andor, I do understand that the characters are morally gray. Now, fine, work with morally gray, but just know that that's only what they're going to be working on. Unless it's Ahsoka, she's gonna be the White Knight to save it all. Oh, okay, Eric Woods. Oh yeah, are you Daniel's friend? Is that how you came to know my channel? I feel bad actually. I can't see Daniel's Monday show anymore because I got my new job. So that will be sad. Anyway, but I don't want to just talk about like I felt like my lecture on the Enigma was important. So with the internet interruption, I'm like, well, I don't want to kill the chat or not the chat, but the stream. But anyway, since you are here, Team Oz, I see that you got a new logo, and if I know that correctly, okay, no, that's the font made me think of actually the film Wizard of Oz. I didn't know if you were working with that. But what are you guys doing? Or not you guys? Are you doing anything specific for your channel? Are you doing anything art related or game related? If you are starting your channel, that'd be good to know. You have very interesting ideas. And of course, my prof will tirelessly agree with me. To Al's chagrin, but we love Al still. We still love him. Jesus, I'm just kidding. I was about to say Jesus loved all people. I did say it. I'm kidding, Al. I tease. People have just decided to consume Andor is the bone that follows the Obi-Wan destruction. Or deconstruction. Deconstruction. Yeah, I hear. And actually, Prof, you were saying this, I think, recently on your channel. Andor, as far as film goes, probably could be good. I'm not going to question the creative choices behind Andor as far as characters and plot. I have no beef with that because objectively, even from speculation, I can see that it is not the level of garbage that Obi-Wan Kenobi was. But you were saying we have bad, or in recent years, real bad, real bad, real bad. Oh, a little good. Then real bad, real bad, real bad, and like two others, and then we got another okay one. I'm sure the visuals for Andor is pretty awesome too. But you know what? I thought Snoke's throne room was visually good. People hated me for saying that. People were like, "What? What are you talking about?" I had people disagree with me. I don't think they hated me, but Snoke's throne room in The Last Jedi, visually awesome. Still a bad movie. Oh, now Big Al's gonna come at us. Oh, actually, no, I need to check out your channel because I've checked out your channel. So you posted a video, our author swap. Let's see. I did a video. If Tolkien wrote Game of Thrones, if Martin wrote Lord of the Rings, if Rowling wrote My Struggle, Bad German Man. Oh, and if Bad German Man wrote Harry Potter, then whoa. See that you want to talk cerebral? That's cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. Definitely. Oh, now Prof and Al are gonna be buddies that will butt heads. But for my channel, let's be polite. even my prof and his best friend. I have to put the rules on that. Anyway, that's good. Team Oz, that's good. I'm glad you're doing your own thing. Let me actually I'm just gonna check it out right now if the internet will let me. But yeah, I think I hope you're getting a following though, because I don't know, like I don't watch the reviews anymore on Night's Watch, but I will say I did read a lot of the comments and people do miss you. They're like, "Where are you?" So uh-oh. Well, good. Whoa, dang, you got whoa, good job, man. I'm not gonna show it though because it links to videos in my feed that I would rather not the public know. I'm not ashamed of, what I watch, but even what I watch will link to videos I have no interest in and people I have no interest in. And why should I let the public know that people are in my feed that I don't watch anyway? But good for you, man. Good for you. Ryan Johnson's visuals for The Last Jedi were great. The issue is his story that they served. I agree. The throne room, it looked great. I loved that red. I couldn't get enough of that red, but the fight scene was terrible. Yeah, actually, I was too distracted. When I first saw it, I was too distracted by the red to even pay attention to the fight scene. Well, you enjoy your well done steak, and then we'll enjoy our medium rare steak or our chicken. Yeah. Anyway, this new place I work at, they have food. They have locally made food, like locally made pasta and packages and stuff like that. And there's some that I can get a discount for. And there's this pasta I want to try, and I'll make it for my prof too. Where it looks good, and I'm like, this is gonna go well with chicken. Oh man, Randall, the fight scene to the Britney Spears song. That yeah, I mean it's kind of a mockery. And I bet Mandalorian season 3 is gonna be amazing because Favreau's involved. Favreau can do no wrong. I say that not meaning that. What kind of pasta? Man, I have to see. It was like lemon infused. Like there were herbs and lemon infused in this locally made pasta. And I'm like, and the manager, my new boss, she said you don't really put any sauces on it because the pasta itself has the built-in flavor. You just add olive oil and all that good stuff. Yeah. I need to cook more for sure. Well, I mean, I do cook. I just don't cook a lot of various different things. All right. Well, definitely I will check out your videos, Sir Oz. And I'm glad you're it was a lemon and maybe parsley. Yeah. I don't know what aglo olio is. Final Fantasy fan. Oh man, red's amazing. I love the color red. Red is indeed an attention-grabbing color. It's commonly associated with passion, but you also see it in a lot of warning signs like a stop sign. Yeah. Yeah, you and my prof and probably Big Al too speak the same language. I didn't even know Wendy's had something called a Baconator. Was it Wendy's? I'm like, that's crazy. I love bacon, but I like 2 or 3 slices of bacon. I don't need so much bacon. It's kind of sad actually. Like this is nothing important if you guys didn't want to know. About 7 or 8 years ago, I actually went pescatarian. Like I just had fish because I actually couldn't really process red meat. I just always didn't feel good after red meat. So I took out all the meat and I actually took out the poultry as well. And then after being pescatarian for like a year or so, I went back to chicken and then I actually started eating red meat again. I actually don't need to eat more than I don't really need to eat red meat more than one time every 1 to 2 weeks. I know with men it's different. But if I just have like chicken or turkey, I'm good. Anyway, all right. What is on the dock for me? Music stuff. I gotta do music. What am I doing? I released a video game soundtrack just recently. It's about 7.5 minutes. It's me just analyzing and scoring the iconic battle music for Donkey Kong Country, the first game of the Donkey Kong series, Super Nintendo. I have one more to do for that series, and then I'll go into the second game, which there's really no comparison. If I had to choose the better soundtrack of all 3 games, Donkey Kong's 1, 2, or 3, they're so good. All of them are so good. I would probably have to say 2, compositionally speaking. But you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I've been doing scores and analyses. So what I'll do is I'll tally up the scores that I made. I might revise some of the scores because I said, oh, this is a 10 out of 10, and then I listened to it again. I'm like, that part is an 8 out of 10. So I might actually do a final revision and score, after I'm done with all the videos, whenever that is. I'll tally up the scores for every game and see it from an objective perspective. Like I'm a composer, I'm a musician. What does this mean? I would have to say my favorite soundtrack is the DKC 2, Diddy's Conquest. But I love the first game and I love game 3. Anyone here who's into retro gaming, who's played the Donkey Kong Country series, if you've ever played 3 and dislike it, I'm sorry. Now, I'm objectively saying 3 is objectively a great game. Yeah, different characters, people didn't like that as much, but the music and the levels were awesome. So I might finish out the DK Country series within the next month or 2. I need to get back to cleaning up SuperCollider and posting code on SuperCollider. I've reached I'm sorry, I'm just ranting now. I just feel like ranting. If you guys would indulge listening to me. SuperCollider I really love. I need to get back to exploring more things that are outside granular synthesis and frequency modulation. If you've seen any of my videos. Basically, exploring all this synthesis stuff has been really good. The sound synthesis has been great. The methods behind it, I can do really cool sounds, but it's gotten to the point where I can have very different sound files and then put them through this method and they will sound the same even though they're very different sound files. So I'm actually stuck. I'm creatively stuck right now in SuperCollider. I haven't really explored more things that I need to explore. But I will clean up present code and send it off publicly. Probably no video on SuperCollider. Maybe an original video. What day is it? Just picking up a new job has really messed with my schedule. Yeah, I'll probably do an original music. I'm working on another single track. It's gonna be great. So I might give a demonstration. I feel like there's other things going on that I have to say. Yes. Battle music for Donkey Kong, super cool. I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate you asking. I just do not have the schedule right now to collaborate. I love streaming on my own channel, and even with streaming, even the same time every week, I have to really, find the time to work it work it around my schedule, make sure everything's done before and after streaming. I thank you so much. I do appreciate that. What is the name of your podcast so I can check you out? If you're do you talk about video game soundtracks? I will be talking more about video game soundtracks. Hey, T-Moz, I have a question. I don't know anything about the Halo series, so I'm sorry. I know you're a huge Halo fan. Story-wise and gameplay for Halo 3, what do you think of it? Because if you don't like it, then that's one thing, but I heard a lot of the soundtrack, and it's pretty awesome. I was actually thinking about after doing retro stuff, maybe getting into more current stuff per se, just talking about the soundtrack, because I don't know anything about Halo, but I remember listening to a very beautiful, sobering, very somber piece in Halo 3. But I didn't know if you liked that as well as like you liked Halo 2 and all that. Soundtrack Alley. Cool. Thank you. Let me now actually I'm really bad with podcasts. Do you have Randall, do you have a YouTube channel that you send the podcast through? Because I usually just do. I know it's not the most ideal, but I usually just, even through a podcast format, I just listen to the YouTube videos. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna look. Now I'm just hanging with you guys. Nope, couldn't find it. Let's see. What does Oz have to say? It's a perfect ending. Halo 2 Anniversary is the best Halo. It has to offer, but Halo 3 is an amazing conclusion. Oh, Halo 4, that's where it went down, and after is awful. Cool. So if I do like an analysis of like the soundtrack, right now I'm just doing I'm thinking of doing analyses. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. Yes, I need your input, guys, if you guys are still wanting to engage. I will be doing gaming analyses a lot, probably a lot more, just focusing on just music, more for my channel, of course, but music for games that I've already played. But I still would give an analysis for games I maybe know a little bit about, but haven't played myself, just because I can actually say, even with a game I'm not familiar with, I can say objectively if the soundtrack is good. So, the last thing, the final thing is, I've been really touched in the last couple of weeks with just a lot going on with getting schedule changes and new jobs and stuff. I've been binging on Chinese music. Actually, I'm going to rephrase that. I've been binging on music played by Chinese instruments. So very popular YouTube channels of beautiful girls, beautiful Chinese girls in front of beautiful Chinese structure. I love structure and architecture. My prof knows every time we see a movie or a TV or a game that has a set of stairs, I just get so excited because I love structures, and I love buildings, and I love architecture, and I love East Asian architecture. I love the look of a Chinese building, like an old traditional, like dynasty look. And I've been listening to these videos, these beautiful, simply beautiful and exquisite music videos of these Chinese girls playing their instruments. And I try to get more into the traditional music instead of just covers of pop songs, but those are fun to watch too. And one particular girl, she just did her instrument and the video so well, it just moved me, that I actually am considering getting back into violin playing. Now, for YouTube, well, I play violin. I've been playing, it's right here. It's right here. Just to show you. I've been playing violin for 26 years. Getting gigs have it's been really hard, and I live in an area where they should have need of classical music like violin and stuff, but the interest is not there. Maybe it's the pandemic, maybe businesses have just been tight and stuff like that, but I'm really happy with the job that I got, even though it's much less pay than what I'm used to as a musician and as a teacher. But people are just not hiring musicians, at least right now, we're in the area that I'm in. That could be across the globe too. But these Chinese girls and their beautiful videos, I just thought, I would like to try my hand in music video production. It would be nowhere near the state of quality as these girls that I had seen. And and that's fine. It's to me, it's actually not the quality of the video as much as it is the audio. And what I was thinking is earlier I had these uh violin samples. I'm pointing this way because right behind me is my living room, and I've been recording on a Canon camera. And I might actually start recording. Actually, I might start as early as this week if I'm not too tired, to play against myself. So again, well, complementary as a duet, some Baroque pieces, maybe some solo pieces. But I'd actually like to try to do some duets, classical duets. They wouldn't have any copyright claim or anything, and then getting into original music again. I have a very famous, not it's not very famous, it's very famous for me. I have a very popular track called Sunkissed. Out of all my music, I have like 45 tracks out in the public now, and out of all the 45, Sunkissed has been the most popular. And I might actually do like some original music starting with that in in the future. This could take some practice. I'm not used to it. But if you guys are, I think I would like to get my channel more centered again on music. Now, for my streams, I'm probably going to talk a lot about literature and writing, and in particular science fiction, but not science fiction in a rigid way, something that could be applied to any genre. But I'd actually like to start playing violin, not in the form of a stream like I used to. I mean, I might, but actually record with a camera. Might be low quality, but I just like to give it a shot. So something I'm thinking about. Anyway, so Oz says, if you did anything on Halo 1 through 3, I would be so happy. Yeah, I'll think about it. I think there's a lot of stuff to be had. I'm sorry, man. The composer's name is slipping. I know he's so famous, and his last name is escaping me. But he did something pretty ingenious with a set of violins that I saw. I'm like, whoa! So I might find those moments. If you were to play the Halo game, it needs to be Halo 2 Anniversary. Trust me, play Halo 2 before any other Halo game. CE is too slow for the modern day. Well, I'm into retro game. I do NES games, so slow is. It'll probably look really advanced for me. Halo 2 Anniversary has the best story in music. I'll start with that as far as score analysis. I don't know why your comments not leaving. Am I back? Okay. I thought the internet was going. All right. Name the genius violin song, please. I don't know. Are you talking about the composer? Oh. All right. So we are getting into the 90-minute mark. Thanks, guys. I know it's been a little bit of a hazy stream, but I do appreciate you guys sticking around. Let me read a couple more comments. Let me write this name down and see. Yasim Salama. Is that how you say the name? Yasim. I hope I'm saying the last name right. I probably will finish the stream. Modern Combat Battlefield 1942. Oh, that's the current game, I think, right? Yeah. By the way, though, I'm gonna be real with you guys. Like the newer games, there's a lot of formulaic writing with the newer games, but I don't think Halo is one of them. And when I say new games, like I'm retro. Okay, I'm in the 80s and 90s, so Halo is still very new to me. All right. So, yeah, I think that's it. Speaking of retro games, I'm gonna visit my prof I'm gonna play Chrono Trigger, and he's gonna play Batman. Which Batman? Arkham Asylum, right? Yeah, but oh yeah. Actually, Oz, I have no idea what time it is on your part of the world, but I do my streams Monday nights, 9:30 Eastern time. So I don't know if that's your Tuesday mornings or afternoons. I think it's actually your afternoons. Um, oh, game covers. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I will definitely check this individual out. But yeah, anyway, I usually stream frequently. I think they'll stay. I think my streams will stay at 9:30 on Mondays and all of that. But in any case, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. In spite of the interruptions and the changes of topic and all that, but thank you guys always for watching and listening. And I promise it won't be just rants, on popular culture and commentary and stuff like that. I promise, Big Al, I will be positive with my content. But in any case, as I always say, keep producing, preserving, and promoting the good art that you love. And I will catch you next time. Bye.